A very good morning from the home of champions, Karting in Belgium. Welcome everybody to the official live stream for the 2025 season opener for the BNL Karting Series season. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, and I have a very, very special guest in the booth. Dan Pepples, the voice of the Next Gen Cup, joins me here for the first five
Hi,
heats of the weekend. How are things, buddy? It's good to have you. Now, we want to give people a little bit of an insight. I made an announcement on social media earlier on this week saying that there was going to be someone taking my place for round 2 at Marienburg, and it is this man here. We've just gone through qualifying for day 1. It's a bit like the back-to-school vibes.
Yes.
What are your first impressions so far? Very different style of commentary to Next Gen Cup, which again, for its third season this year, supports the DTM.
First of all, hi everyone. Like Alex said, it's me, Dan. I do commentary for Next Gen Cup. Indeed, we run together with DTM. It's great to be together with DTM with Next Gen Cup. It's also great to be here at a track that is 20 minutes away from where I live here at Karting.
Yes.
So that's awesome. I know the track where actually I think we met in person the first time too.
Nearly 3 years ago, April 2022, I was here on commentary duties for the Euro Trophy at that point. And this young man here, who 4 years ago, we actually started working together on sim racing commentary. And then he said, look, I'm trying to get into real life commentary, and can I come and shadow you? And I'll just come for the Friday. He got so addicted to karting, he stayed for the whole weekend. And, you know, it then started bigger things, a Kilo 1000 as well over in Sweden.
Yep.
But we've got over 180 drivers this weekend for the season opener. It's the first of 4 double-header weekends. Now, for those that remember the old days of the BNL Karting Series, we used to have 2 race meetings in a weekend. We've gone back to that format, but we've also changed the point structure for 2025. The main thing is that the final is the only place where you actually score points, and it's the best 6 of 8 results over the course of the championship season, which will then decide our 2025 BNL Karting Series champions. More to the point, this series has been around from 2008, and a certain 4-time Formula 1 world champion who's going to go into action in Melbourne and Albert Park this weekend, Max Verstappen, was the first ever back-to-back defending champion, 2008 and 2009. Funny enough, in one of our classes here this weekend, Mini-Max. But it really does go to show, you know, Thomas Pining, DTM champion, won as a junior in 2014. Oliver Askew went in as a senior in 2015. But folks, let's give you an overview of the home of champions here at Karting Genk with a track guide. Now, this circuit here has been around since 1984. It got a revamp in the early 2000s to the 1,360 metre clockwise circuit, 13 turns and all. Dan, a lot of technicality here at this track, but also great overtakes are possible down the famed Europalan between turns 6 and 7, and have also that very fearsome long start-finish straight.
Well, the Europalan ends in a hard braking zone, so a great overtaking opportunity. One of my favorite overtaking spots as a commentator to see drivers overtake is turns 1 and 2. I love that complex of turns, and well, it does open up the opportunities, especially going into 3, Alex, for a great fight. And if you can hang it around the outside, it gives you the inside for 3.
Yeah, so one of the wonderful things coming into when I arrived here at 10:30 local time here yesterday morning, before meeting up with Dan a little bit earlier just to introduce him to the team, to see the paddock absolutely full to bursting point was wonderful. So there is the circuit itself, clockwise in direction, and it measures 1,360 metres in total. And then, well, it is 13 corners in total, and it has hosted the Sony World Series International Finals, the FIA World and European Championships, the Euro Trophy, and is also the home of the Rotax Belgian Max Challenge, and, of course, the BNL Karting Series. This is the opening round out of 4. The calendar is as follows. The 8th and 9th of March will be round 1. Round 2, Dan will be in the booth for Captain de Fagne in southern Belgium, 17th to the 18th of May. Then we return for the final 2 rounds on the 21st and the 22nd of June, and then the 27th and the 28th of September round off this this season. There, for those folks watching, over 120 we see on the qualifying heat stream live on the BNL Karting Series YouTube channel. We're also broadcasting live on the official BNL Karting Series Facebook page, so please like and share and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube.
Do all the good stuff.
Do all the good stuff. Do all the clicks. It might be a little click to you, but to us here at the BNL, it means so much more. We're going to be very shortly getting underway with our first of 5 qualifying heats that will take us to the lunch break at around 12 local time. And it is going to be up first, Senior Max A versus B. And all the heats apart from, well, all the races apart from the pre-final for DD2 and DD2 Masters will be 7 minutes plus an additional lap. Now, Dan, qualifying this morning was very, very close indeed. The person that put it on pole position was Macaulay Bishop, last year's Golden Trophy winner, the 368 from Hoddesdon in Hertfordshire. He's a very, very fast peddler, but we have got a depth and breadth of field. They sometimes do say it's quality over quantity, but I think you can have both at the same time, especially with seniors.
Yeah, for sure. It's also, Alex, a beautiful day here at the circuit. We're expecting around 18, 19 degrees Celsius here today. Actually, these are the perfect conditions to go kart racing.
Yeah, exactly. So, Depatjes saying, let's go Sverre Ubben in the chat. So, really good to have you all along with us for the ride. It is going to be that case of where there is a lot of activity. You see the amount of different nationalities we have. We've got Turkey, Japan, Georgia, the United States, Italy, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, the United Kingdom, Belgium, the Netherlands, the list, Luxembourg. The list could go on and on. But with over 180 drivers that got here this weekend, it reminds me of the early days of when I started with this championship. We were hitting around those numbers, and we were hitting north of 200 for the BNL Karting Series kickoff. And that's the thing, that the championship is now at a point where it brings the best of international talent back to one central focus, one central series that has seen so many fantastic drivers. And there we go. That's probably Macaulay's mum, Kitty, watching. Hello, Kitty. Hope you're keeping well. Very, very wonderful lady. Has had a lot of health problems quite in the last couple of years, but always a pleasure to have you guys with us. These 7 minute plus an additional lap races are very, very crucial, because this is where things take on a different slant, because we used to have it in the old days that the qualifying heats for seniors would go over the course of day one, and then you'd have the second chance or the repechage on the Sunday, and then you'd have the top 36 final. Now, we put the pressure cooker even harder on these drivers. You don't get through to the final, you don't get points.
Yeah, so it's even more crucial now, Alex, to get through to that final to pick up just any points. We're looking at the dummy grid at the moment. We saw a little moment earlier that some lost pieces and bits of information being talked about between engineer or mechanic and driver. How crucial, Alex, is that relationship between those two?
It is very, very crucial, especially when it's a familial bond as well. You know, like you'll have father and son, father and daughter. I've even had a situation, mother and daughter. And that's unusual. Greetings to to Taipei in the island, Chinese Taipei in the island of Taiwan. Roger Young, it's good to hear your voice again, mate. I know you keep on asking me whether I'm going to go back to the Euro Trophy. Well, the thing is, you know, my home's here. My home's here at the BNL Karting Series. I always love coming back to the Limburg region of Belgium, and you can see how much activity there is at this circuit. The motorhomes that we see just off of the start-finish straight, you've got all the cars that are parked there. You've got the mechanics gantry that will be filled to bursting point very shortly. And as the temperature increases, 18 to 19 degrees Celsius. And there we have one of the drivers, the 359 for Dams Racing, run by Jan Dams. And let's just have a look. I'm looking through 359. Tino Potier is one of the many drivers there. the French driver. Tom Lenoir has been one of their quick French drivers in that group. Mike Van Vugt, multi-time BNL Karting Series champion, has been doing a lot of data. Also have to give a shout out to a man who is a well-known sim racer, but also loves karting and now runs a team. Arthur Lehouk from France, Williams Esports factory sim racer, and now also runs his own team. Plus, he still loves getting behind the wheel of a gearbox kart. So if that doesn't show you passion, I don't know what does.
These are the people that make this sport happen, right? The people with that passion, the people that invest their time into, well, what is our sport too. We love this sport, and it's those people that we need in order for this sport to live and thrive as it is at the moment, Alex.
So, the tension now builds ahead of the opening qualifying heat of 2025. Mechanics have been cleared for the grid with 3 minutes to go. There's Sebastian Koch for Germany, and there is Tom Lenoir right behind. That is a very, very crucial front couple of drivers there. And then you're going to have Sverre Ubben in the 346 just behind, representing the house that Lemons built, GKS, who've run the likes of 2009 Formula 1 and 2018 Super GT GT500 champion Jenson Button. It's a real travesty that they say, oh yeah, Jenson Button, 2009 Formula 1 world champion. Yeah, but Super GT GT500 is just as taxing. It's not an annoyance. It's just something that when someone has had multiple championship successes, and Super GT is incredibly difficult, but now we see the timer there on the top left of the screen. This is what the drivers are watching closely, Dan, because this is where these drivers now have to watch and wait for that green flag.
These are long seconds, let's be honest, Alex. If you're watching that clock, those seconds can't take over quick enough. And there is the green flag at the end of the dummy grid. Drivers leaving the dummy grid onto the track.
Right, it's back to school for BNL in 2025. Here is your starting grid for the opening race of the 2025 season here at Karting Genk. It's your grid for senior Rotax. Qualifying heat A versus B. So, Sebastian Koch and Bastien Mesnil round out the front row with Sebastian on pole. Tom Lenoir will be joined on row 2 by Gianmarco Cortapassi, with Sverre Ubben and Sasha Aim rounding out row 3. Mateo Radenkovic and Frederick Demant next up. Tia Lemoigne and Sebastian Kirrich round out the next row. Enes Demirkaya and Luca Prima, followed by Tino Potier and Dante Sima. Lex Quintans and Enzo Zani round out the next row. Ryan Kairos for the United Arab Emirates will be joined by Denmark's Alexander Rasmussen on the following row. Poland and Belgium next up with Francisek Sulima and Luca Mular. Christopher Holst and Charlie Smith representing Switzerland, and the Stars and Stripes of the Star-Spangled Banner for the United States of America. Ryan Bourguignon and Lotus Tveen next up. Lloyd Hare, Adam Woodham, Matthias Yellerup, Ollie Wise, Armin Hamilton and Lado Kuhanidze from Georgia round out your grid. They go on to the formation lap. They've had the opportunity with the sighting lap there to try and check the steering. Some people keep on thinking it's warming up tyres. It serves a dual purpose because, especially with now, we're into double digits, 11 degrees Celsius here, Dan. We're going to hit 18. It's going to be towards the end of the day, but this is where that cycle of evolution of rubbering in the track and drivers having grip and confidence is crucial in this early phase.
It is indeed getting those tyres up to somewhat of a working temperature. That's why we see the drivers having 2 warm-up laps. Alex, for some of these drivers, it might be the first time they are doing a start this season, very early on in the karting season. Let's see if we can get it right the first time, shall we?
Yes, indeed. Red lights ignited on the starting gantry to kick-start this season in 2025, kicking and screaming into turns 1 and 2, just off of the start-finish straight. And Sebastian Koch and Bastien Mesnil will have to set the consistent pace. They now come out of turn number 11 and past the red line of no return. This is the moment we have been waiting for, what you have been waiting for. It is time to get the racing and the road to the grand finals in 2025 very much underway. So they come out of turn 12 into turn 13. Revs up, lights on, and we are underway in 2025. It's the run down to turn 1. Sebastian Koch has kept the early lead, but it is going to be... Oh, we've had a turnaround. Someone's gone spinning, and that looks to be a Dams Racing kart through into T1. But great start there by the German from pole position. Sebastian Koch, who kept people at bay and leads the field down the Europalan for the first time.
Sebastian Koch doing everything he needs to do, keeping that kart in first place. We saw a bit of contact turning onto the Europalan a little bit further back in the field. It's Bastien Mesnil following him closely, though. Sebastian Koch at the front of the field.
Yeah, Sverre Urban gets past Gianmarco Cortapassi, and now we'll start hunting them down. The top 3 pulling their way into turns 12 and 13. It really is going to be a case. Dive up the inside. That's Mesnil being passed by Langlois, who takes second as we complete the opening lap. Sebastian Koch from Germany leads by over 3/10. Langlois, Mesnil. Then it's Urban and Cortopassi, Sasha Aim, Mateo Radenkovic, Frederic Demant, and Theo Lemoigne round out your top 10. Tino Potier, now up 2 places, is running behind Enes Demirkaya as Cortopassi is being assaulted from all sides. It's a bit like a pit maneuver by the police in the local sheriff's constabulary in Florida in the United States. The Italian from MKC Motorsport is trying to hold on to position, but it's a Dams Racing trio leading the way with GKS hot on their heels.
Still, it's Sebastian Koch at the front of the field, though. Tom Langlois made his intentions clear on the last lap. He's going to try the same move again and gets past Sebastian Koch too. We have a new leader.
Yep, so Tom Langlois leads, Mesnil, Urban gets through, and now the battle in the top 4 really heats up into turn 1. Now they go through. Sverre Urban holding on to that position. Lado Kuhenidze, the Georgian driver, down in 23rd, gets a warning flag from race control. Sverre Urban up the inside of Mesnil, and there goes Sebastian Koch. He's going to be wheel to wheel, side by side into turn 7, and the German pulls the pin on the grenade, pulls the trigger, gets back through, but Mateo Radenkovic, let's not forget about this young man, former European champion, has also taken a title in Minimax back in 2021, went and took the junior crown 2 years ago, and is now up in the senior ranks, and he looks racy.
Tom Langlois at the front of the field now, creating himself a little bit of a gap, activating Newman DRS down the front straight here at the home of champions. It's now Sverre Urban trying to chase down the Frenchman at the front of the field. Then it's Sebastian Koch who went within 1 lap from P1 to P4.
Yep, and now he's back up to P3. So Langlois leads the way. Biggest movers at the moment, Armand Hamilton up from 29th, now 16th. Ollie Wise pumps in the new fastest lap of the race. The young man for KR Sport and the United Kingdom, 54.579 for the 356. He's up 7 spots. Armand Hamilton up 13. Lloyd Hare up from 25th on the grid, now running in 13th. He's just been passed by Charlie Smith from the United States, the first main representation we've had from the USA since Oliver Askew, ex-NTT IndyCar and Formula E driver, who's now, after severe concussions, ending his career prematurely in some respects, ended up going into broadcasting. Funnily enough, James Hinchcliffe has done exactly the same thing with Townsend Bell and Will Buxton as the Fox Sports commentary trio for NTT IndyCar for 2025. Ranius VK now with Dale Coyne Racing for this season. Battled with Askew back in 2015 and finished 3rd in senior that year.
A lot of history in the BNL karting series. Who's going to write history this season? Who's going to write history in this race? It's Tom Langlois. Langlois still at the front of the field. He, as it stands, would be our first winner. And our first winner of the day 2 of the heat. Sverre Urban, though, trying to change that in the GKS.
Yep, and that's wonderful bright yellow, orange and black accented colouring on both race suit and chassis. as he closes that gap, dives to the inside, and new leader on lap 6, Sverre Ubben up the inside of turn 1, through on Tom Langlois. That was poetry in motion for the 346 from Belgium, as Matej Radenkovic closing in, switch back from Langlois at turn 6 onto the Europalan, and look at this, 4 of them squabbling. Langlois, Ubben, Radenkovic and Koch rounding out your top 4. They were covered last time around by 3.3 tenths of a second. This one is going to be fruity.
Langlois and Ubben had a little bit of a gap. That fighting, though, has allowed the 2 behind to close up. There comes Matej Radenkovic up the insides of the Belgian. And up into second place. He will now try and go after Tom Langlois, who has been leading this race for the most part of it. We've still got about 1.5 minutes. That's about 3 laps to go here, Alex.
Yep, it is indeed, as Radenkovic gets through on Sverre Ubben, back again into turn 1. Sebastian Koch just biding his time, but Tom Langlois is starting to pull a slight kart length advantage. Make that 2 to 3 kart lengths as they go into the braking zone here at turn number 6. And more to the point, it's the long run down the famed Europalan at over 105 kilometres now. Hard on the brakes, turn it in, through 6, through 7. Now into the sweeper. Here at 8, Langlois is still leading. But the big thing is Sverre Ubben dives up the inside of Radenkovic through at turn 9, retakes P2. The 3 behind Langlois need to start indirectly working together. And now Sebastian Koch has the opportunity. Oh, Sverre Ubben drifts wide coming out of turn number 11, into turn 12, into 13. Radenkovic might get the over-under here coming out of the final corner. No, Sverre Ubben blocks it coming out of turn number 13. 2 to go, and Langlois' lead is now over half a second. He is away and clear. No, make that a second. There's a bit of contact between Radenkovic and Ubben. That is going to bring Sebastian Koch back into the mix. Bessian Mesnil, Sasha Aim now join the party. They do say that 2's company and 3's a crowd here, Dan, but a quintet, that makes it a gaggle.
Sebastian Koch, by just staying out of trouble up into P2. That's a great move, and just staying out of trouble was crucial there. The GKS kart of Radenkovic trying to make his way up the inside, does manage to do so. It was even Sverre who managed to make his way up the inside. He's now back up onto the podium, the top 3.
Yeah.
Langlois, though, with that fighting they did behind, 1.7 seconds. Well, not looking back from here, I think.
No, last lap underway. Tom Langlois, Sebastian Koch, Sverre Ubben, Matej Radenkovic and Bessian Mesnil round out the top 5. So just over 1.3 kilometres to negotiate here at the Home of Champions to conclude the opening heats of the 2025 BNL Karting Series season. And Tom Langlois' lead is now 1.8 seconds. That's exactly what he needed. But there's contact a little bit further back. 3:05. Sasha Aim got tagged by Gianmarco Cortapassi from Italy in the 3:21 at turn 6. But it is going to be one driver that is going to stake his claim to being an early challenger for this year's ultra-competitive title fight. And through, out of turn number 11, comes the 3:55 of France's Tom Langlois, who's going to win it by a country mile. And it's Langlois, 9 laps completed. The Frenchman wins. Sebastian Koch started on pole, rounds out P2. Sverre Ubben 3rd. Radenkovic, Mesnil, Lemoigne, Bourguignon, Charlie Smith. And we got Frederick Demant and Germany's Enes Demerkaya. Rounding out your top 10, Armand Hamilton, 18 places gained, finished a whopping 11th. Well done to the young man from Hungary by way of Australia due to family heritage, I might add. I've met the family several times. Tino Potier, Ollie Wise up 15 spots from 28th to finish 13th. Christopher Holst, Lloyd Hare ran at your top 15. Francis Exulima, Sasha Aim, Lada Kuhanidze. Then we had Lex Quintans, Matthias Yeller, Adam Woodham, and Lotus Fiend rounding out your top 22 in that race. Gianmarco Cortapassi dropped to 23rd at the flag. Luca Brima, Ryan Kairos, Alexander Rasmussen, Sebastian Kellerich. Then we've got Dante Sima, Enzo Zani being the last of the 29 classified finishers after 9 laps of racing, covered by 15.7 seconds. That's how close this race was, with Luca Moulin not even making it to the start.
I think a better idea of how close this was the fact that You called 1.9 seconds a winning margin of 1.9 seconds, a country mile. That's how used to seeing very close finishes we are here at the BNL Karting Series. Drivers now into the scrutiny area.
Yep. And so all results called are provisional pending sporting and technical checks post session. So this is where we will possibly see for the first point in the season the dreaded iPad of doom. There's Adri, one of our team here at the BNL Karting Series, with a tablet in his hand. If he notes that a bumper's in, that's an automatic 5-second unappealable penalty. And there's been a lot of talk in internet land, especially with certain YouTube channels, talking about the fact of, do we really need the front bumper as it is in its current evolution right now? But this is where the drivers must meet the minimum 162 kilograms weight, which is driver and kart completed. Our scrutineering team, led by our chief scrutineer, can at any point be asked for a spot check, which can include engine inspection. And this is... I
just do have to say, the man with the iPad, he's looking at all those front bumpers. And he
does,
there,
there we go.
Go. He does look a little
He's
scary.
Found a victim, folks. He's found a victim. But this is...
And the drivers will know this, right, Alex? They'll know this before he takes the picture. It's not a surprise to them.
No, it's not. But one of the things that get, with regards to the sporting regulations is that if you attempt to kick in that bumper, you can actually be excluded. You can... And all I'm going to say... now... This goes back to the grand finals a couple of years back, and it was a Team Netherlands driver. I'm not going to mention who it is, but it was a junior driver, and you know exactly who you are if you are watching, because I'm going to be commentating on you on a different championship this year. Kicked in the front bumper in the qualifying heat stages, got excluded from the grand finals. And the thing is, there are cameras that watch. There are cameras that watch, so the all-seeing Big Brother-style eye of race control will see things going on. There we have the calm before the storm here for our second Senior Max heat of the day. Groups C versus D coming up next. But first impressions, Mr. Pepples.
It's crazy. There's so much happening at the same time.
I know.
The big grids, it's awesome to see, and as I said earlier, it's a sign that our sport is thriving, right? There will be drivers here that, you know, in the future you'll see them in Formula 3, Formula 2, Formula 1 even maybe. Mm-hmm. Who knows? And not only that, GT racing series, there are so many of them. There are some real stars in these fields. Well,
I mean, you look at, say, for instance, Glenn Van Parijs and Sander Schribblack. Zander, the last 2 seasons, competed in GT Open Cup Europe. Glenn Van Parijs, Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux, and maybe a bit of Deutschland thrown in there for good measure. Janis Stiak, a race winner in Middle East, and also a man very, very much. He was the youngest entrant in the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland last year. However, here's your grid for qualifying heats C versus D. Robbie Stordeur and William Pemble will be on the front row. Stordeur will be on pole. Simon Perigny and Ollie Jonkers on row 2. Alex Aim and Artyom Sestakovs from Latvia round out your top 3 rows. Jack West will be joined on the next row by Jay Zurveld, Benjamin Debant and Adrien Stions, who's moved up to seniors for the very first time. He's at a rapid rate of growth, that man. He's soon to turn 14. Now, when I say 14, it's on the year of his 14th birthday. Alexander Lemaire and Matthias Holm Hansen next up. Magnus Brandt and Bo Alris round out the next row. Romans Rodinovs and Philip Enemark rounding out the next row. Cameron Nelson and Frederick Sorensen next up. Arnold Sabarin for Canada and Matteo Matrone for Italy. Then it's Tino Sidler and Lorenzo Giaquinto. Noah Janssen and Jort van Wijk round out the next row ahead of Ruben Verheyen, the UK's Lewis Goff. Now, Macaulay Bishop is way back down the field, mainly because of the fact that I'm sure that there was something post-session that meant that he would drop. Thijs van Wijk, Knut Nielsen and Devian Rost round out your next group.
That's one that I'm looking forward to, Alex, is Devian Roest, actually. Talked to him before. Obviously, I've been in the karting paddock a couple of times now here at the Home of Champions at Karting Genk. I've talked to Devian as well, but he's really quick. I'm looking forward to see him move through the field.
Right, the reason for Macaulay Bishop had all his lap times cancelled because he crossed the line after the first 60 seconds. So he should not have been allowed to go out onto the grid, onto the qualifying session. So his times were thereby rescinded. However, he's got a chance to make his way up through this field, and it's a strong field as well. So Robbie Stordeur and William Pemble will start from the front row of the grid. Stordeur on pole. The red lights ignited ahead of 7 minutes, plus an additional lap here at the Home of Champions as we go. Revs up, lights on, and the lights do go out. We're underway. Good clean start from the field. That was a chop across the nose by William Pemble over the front of Robbie Stordeur. And they come through into... and there's a bit of a melee in the background. One off exit stage left off of the runoff area. And one spinning around. Another one for good measure. Looks like our Junior Max drivers are eagerly watching proceedings as well in the backdrop. As they're waiting to go onto the dummy grid. But meantime, William Pemble cut across the nose so aggressively in front of Robbie Stordeur, as if to say... Well, you might have pole, but I'm definitely going to put the frighteners on you as they come out of turn 9 down the run into turn 10 at Cafe Corner just off of the grandstand. Dive bombs up the inside through turn 10. And more to the point, I think Pemble is going to have the race lead. Is he going to come through out of the final corner? It is Robbie Stordeur in second. William Pemble leads after the opening lap, and the gap is 78 thousandths. Stordeur pulls the trigger up the inside, and Yonkers goes through as well. And that could be Simon Perigny for the Le Hook Racing team, who's firing it round the outside at turn 4, doing the old Slim Shady on Artyom Sestakovs.
We see some great moves here in the early stages of this race. Once again, just like all the other races, 7 minutes plus 1 lap. Alex, we saw 9 laps completed. Not that many opportunities.
No, Lewis Goff has gone purple in sector number 1. Knud Nielsen and Macaulay Bishop both have just made up on the opening lap alone 12 places. So keep your eyes on the 368 from Dan Holland Racing. If he ain't going to get the times in qualifying, he's going to push and kick and shove his way to the sharp end of the field. Oh, and a spinner! 344 goes around. That's Alex Aim. Oh, he kept it out of the barriers. That was nearly a Travis Pastrana, Jim Carner edition spin there.
Yeah, got up onto the rear end of another kart and then spun round. But what a good piece of driving to keep that kart out of the barrier, Alex.
Yeah, Jack West, unfortunately, has retired from the race. May not have even made it out onto the field, onto the circuit itself. But Robbie Stordeur leading from Ollie Yonkers. William Pemble rounds out the top 3 ahead of Artyom Sestakovs, with Simon Perigny, Adrien Stions, Jay Zerveld, Magnus Brandt. Macaulay Bishop is definitely closing in on the top 10. He's currently 13th. Stordeur back in the race lead. Yonkers, Pemble, Sestakovs, et al. Bishop now 12th and closing.
The top 2 have broken away a little bit. The 2 Belgians at the front of the field. As soon as they start fighting though, Alex, that gap will close right up again. And William Pemble behind that will look to close that gap if he can, even in normal racing conditions. Without the 2 at the front fighting, for a moment thought that Oliver was going to go for the move on Stordeur at the front, but thinks the better of it.
Yeah, it's just really, really considering the fact that the drivers are doing as 5-second time penalty. William Pemble. Now that is going to be a case of a penalty. Now that could either be a jump start, could be it could be an advantage by contact or unsportsmanlike driving. We're not sure on that just yet, but it is a 5-second time penalty.
Oh, she's got another cart going round.
Oh, and that's off of the exit. That's coming through out of turn number 13. 393. That is Devian Rost.
Oh, well, Dave, you can come to me for that one. I jinxed it before the race, saying that I was looking forward.
It's commentator's circumstance. Alexander Lemel just gets a warning flag from race control. So penalty for William Pemble, and that is going to hurt his race significantly. He's actually all the way down now in 14th position. Macaulay Bishop now up into P7, and it's going to change all the time. Now, obviously, the reason why William Pemble, now where is he at the moment? I just spotted him, and he is running third out on track, but it may be taking into consideration the 5-second time penalty. So 2 minutes and 18 to go. Ollie Yonkers within 3/10, and there goes Simon Perigny. That is an on-track overtake on the 396 of William Pemble, the driver on the OTK. Fastest lap of the race now, Macaulay Bishop, 54.561. Artyom Sestakos now gets through, so the man from Latvia. He's also been doing some mechanicking over in the UAE, and funnily enough, I bumped into Qatar, of all places, last December. So 1 minute and 45 to go. Stordeur versus Yonkers for the race lead. It's Bouvin Power versus Dams Racing, then Le Hook Racing Team and MRG Racing, rounding out the top 4. And with that, well, the top 2 running, it's their home track. Then Perigny from France, Sestakovs from Latvia. And still, it is very much a case. There's been a couple of incidents here, Dan, but it hasn't been to the point where things have just gone completely off track. Benjamin Demant and Knut Nielsen have retired. Devin Ross, no surprise. I think it looked like the back axle was a little bit bent on that kart. You could see it bouncing up and down a little bit. Here's a good battle. This is Adrien Stions versus Macaulay Bishop. Bishop has no problem getting past him. I mean, you see a lot of younger drivers now come through the ranks, and obviously Adrien Stions ran as a junior last year, now runs as a senior. It's a very, very big learning curve that they go, yep, we're sticking you in seniors, and then the first thing is, oh dear, are the first 2 words that you think of.
Yeah, well, indeed. It's a steep learning curve, but of course, first races of the season for some of these drivers, they'll just be looking to have a good race. Is that a move for the lead? Yes, it is.
Ollie Yonkers gets through at turn 1 on Robbie Stordeur. So we're on to what will be our penultimate lap of this race. And more to the point, well, Stordeur is still keeping him very, very honest. Simon Perigny is closing the gap as they go through turn 6 and turn 7. So more to the point, it is a case of which one of these 3 will come out on top. Well, the timer has struck 0 officially. And then into the final couple of corners. Next time around, we're going to be going on to the final lap of this race. And where is Macaulay Bishop in all of this? He's only 2.8 seconds off the race lead. Last lap is underway, and now it's the dogfight between Yonkers and Stordeur. Yonkers goes on the ultra defensive into turn 1. A slight window of opportunity could be opening for Robbie Stordeur, but keep your eyes on Simon Perigny for the Le Hook Racing Team. He is right with them, right up their exhaust pipes. And now down the Europalan for the final time. Yonkers is holding on. Sestakos now makes it a quartet at the sharp end of this field. We could get a grandstand finale on our hands here, Dan.
Yes, coming into Cafe Corner where all of our spectators are. We go now. Is Stordeur going to try a move to get back that lead in which he started this lap? Yonkers still at the front of the field, rounding off now what will be the last corner of the track. He keeps that lead. His run to the line will be a big one.
Yonkers takes it. Yonkers takes it by just over 1/10.5 of a second. Mamma mia, mercy, mercy me. Ollie Yonkers and Tom Langlois for Dams Racing have said, hey, it's not just about DHR. It's not just about Strawberry. It's not just about GKS or Bouvin. Dams Racing has come here to fight this season. Wow, that was close. And when I can tell you this, folks, the top 6 rounded out by Macaulay Bishop, covered by just over 1.2. That is how close it is. Here are your provisional results. Ollie Yonkers, Robbie Stoddard, Simon Perigny, Artyom Sestakos, Tino Sidler, who made up 16 places. Macaulay Bishop, 21 places gained. Adrien Stions, Jay Zerveld, Alexander Lemau, and from 26th to round out the top 10, it is Lewis Goff, William Pemble, Magnus Brandt, Thijs van Wijk, Romans Rodinovs, Cameron Nelson, Noah Janssen, Jort van Wijk, Matthias Holm Hansen, Lorenzo Giaquinto, Arnaud Sabahat, Matteo Motrone, and Alex Aim round out your 22 strong. We're going to go to a brief commercial break here on the BNL Karting Series Facebook and YouTube channels. We'll be right back after these messages. Well, welcome back to live coverage of the season opener. It's day one. It's back to school for the BNL Karting Series in 2025. You join Alex Goldschmidt and Dan Pepples up here in the commentary position. Dan will be with us for the entire weekend at round 2 at Karting de Fagne in Marienborg in May of this year. Genk, the home of champions, have been around for over 4 decades. It's now into decade number 5. 1,360 metres, 13 corners, clockwise direction. 2 fantastic senior road tax heats to bring us back kicking and screaming into this season. What a way, Dan, for it to really... great racing, great sportsmanship between the drivers. A few incidents along the way, but we now return to juniors.
That's fierce racing, right? Incidents happen, especially at... when you're on the limit, these are things that happen. Right, it's a part of racing. Not nice to deal with though, but the drivers will, they'll regroup, come back in their next heat, and try and do just one better. Up next, we've got the juniors heats B and C. Yeah,
so round about the best part of nearly 60 drivers here this weekend for junior road tax, aged between 12 and 15. We had capped it at 54 entries. It ended up being round about 60 plus coming into this weekend. 145 kilos minimum weight, including driver and cart, and they will be running on the Mojo D2 XX CIK homologated tyre. Of course, Mojo is known as the official tyre partner for the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals, which returned to the sands of the Persian Gulf in early December this year to the Bahrain International Karting Circuit. Had the opportunity to be there for 2021 and 2023 as part of the Rotax media team, doing the daily reports and also being shoehorned into commentary alongside the voice of the Grand Finals. Shout out to the man from Barry in South Wales, the voice of the Grand Finals himself, Henry Baudet. But green flag has waved at the end of the dummy grid. The mechanics will now walk their way to the gantry. Here is your grid for Junior Max qualifying heat. Groups B versus C. And, well, good to see Bom dia Francisca from Team WFR. There we go. We've got Isaac Barker and Alex Goodson on the front row. All British front row. Vince van der Holle, incredibly well-versed in Minimax last year, moves up to juniors. He's joined by Harry Freeman. Then we've got Christian Segerson. And one of the surprises in junior Rotax qualifying, Enan Ilnordagan from Turkey. When you've got the likes of Ayşen Güven running in DTM, an official Porsche Works driver. Bran van der Weyck and Boris Maximov next up. Matic Oberhidze and Sebastian Lersch next up after that. And we got Ryan Gandor, Louis Radcliffe, Lenny Hobiolagash, Luca van Leer, Badine Blankenberg, Devin Mieter, Lieke van Berkel, Len Abbas, Thomas Verheyen, Olivier Chasse, Cody Lepetel, Jack Collinson. British name, but proud of his Latvian heritage. British dad, Latvian mum. So prefers to run has a Latvian international competing license.
What doesn't Alex know?
I know. Mason Bjerring, Justin Fong, Boris Verhaag, Lucas Stodder, Ludwig Hansen, Samir Paul, Ava Morris, Fredrik Flood Engebretts, Luan Seidel, Marcus Papp, Hanna Kreitz from Sweden, and Sam Kohler rounding out the grid. Max Grassini and Tom Reger are not starting. And also, before I forget, to the women within motorsport and also around the world, happy International Women's Day here on March the 8th. So, and it's great to see that we have some competitive female drivers
for sure
here as well. Lieke van Berkel, I've been commentating on her for quite a few years through her days in micro, mini, and now into junior. Hanna Kreitz, you were talking to me about that young lady from Sweden. This is her first race outside of her national championships that she's been doing, and she's ended up going from seniors to juniors for this event. I think you were saying earlier on to me.
Yes, that's very true. Getting ready for the start though, Alex.
Okay, Alexander Van Meeuwen, good to hear from you. Right, revs up, lights on, lights are out, and we are underway. It's a good start from the front end of the field as he headed to turns 1 and 2. The two DHR karts line astern, side by side. But it's a KR Sport kart that has gone into the front of the field. And that is going to be very, very important. That could be Harry Freeman possibly as we go down the Europalan for the first time. So a lot of action in that first scramble down to turn 1. Very much the case of a different situation to when we saw Robbie Stauder having his nose cut off by William Pemble early doors, and it looks to be it is Harry Freeman that is leading the way, and he's starting to pull a gap.
Yeah, it's always crazy to see these cards, all of them go into turns 1 and 2, trying to figure out their place on the track. We're coming through to complete lap number 1. We did have a tangle coming out of turn 3 though. 2 carts off the circuit. One, I think, luckily was able to resume their race. One though, out.
Marcus Papp from Luxembourg and Fredrik Flood Engebretts from Norway looks to have been the drivers that were compromised. So we are waiting for the timing to update. But Harry Freeman leading the way by over half a second from Alex Goodson. It is side by side between 2.82 and 2.96. That's Thomas Verheyen and Bran van der Weyck going wheel to wheel off of the Europalan. And they were briefly again side by side for the smallest of moments as they come out of turn 9. But Harry Freeman's trying to steal a march, but everyone else behind him are chasing him down. And Lordogan from Turkey is very, very fired up and is wanting to try and close up. Takes a look over the right shoulder coming across the start-finish line. Black and white warning flag is going out, and that is for the 284. So 284 in this race. Luca van Leer, who is currently running down in 17th position. So race control being very, very expedient and very speedy with their decisions.
Yeah, you have to be. It's a short race. Keep these drivers under control. They've been quite behaved, though, I have to say, Alex. Much better than it was in our previous race. Much less incidents, I have to say. Harry Freeman at the front of the field and Alex Goodson in second, trying to chase him down. This is the pack of 3 drivers. Also involved in that is our Turkish driver and Lordogan.
Yeah, very close between the top 3. There were 0.63 of a second, but now you've got the quartet, Vince van der Hollen, giving chase. And they're now covered by just under 6/10. 4 minutes to go plus an additional lap as Harry Freeman defends from Alex Goodson. It's KR Sport versus DHR at the front end of the field. And Freeman, this could give the opportunity to Lordogan, who gets through on the inside at turn 3, now through 4. The Turkish driver has got through on the Brits and now leads the DHR challenge towards KR Sport, but that's Harry Freeman. Harry Freeman's lost the lead, and Lordogan is leading the way, and Vince van der Hullen looking for the inside line, going into turn 6 off the Europalan, and he gets it.
Well done. What a move that was, Alex. We're looking to come through to Sector 2B now, the 222. That is Eren Logan. He has taken the lead of this race, still being chased down though. It's a tough race, this one, to lead. Do you want to lead it at this point?
You don't. You want to be there. You want to be in second. You want to be in third. But you look at the likes of who... It's going to change all over again. Harry Freeman leads as we're past the halfway point, and Lordogan now down into third place behind Vince van der Hullen in the 228. Then it's Goodson, Lersch, Barker. Kobahidze is also factoring in. The youngster from Georgia has just put in the fastest lap of the race, 56.408. So now as things are concertinaing, you've got at least a train of 10 that are battling for this race lead. The top 8 rounded out by Boris Maximov last time around were covered by a second. That's how close this race is going to be. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 carts at the front end of the field, and there's going to be more joining the gravy train. Look, it's starting to close on in as Freeman and van der Hullen go into battle through turn 10. Van der Hullen's swarming over him like a bad rash, and is trying to look for that move, and he's going to dive up the inside through at turn number 12. But can Harry Freeman get the over-under? No, he doesn't. Oh, and look at Underlogan. Got through, got the buy one, get one free special. 2 for the price of 1. The Turkish driver retakes the lead, and now that's Sebastian Lersch sticking his elbows in. Great stuff here in juniors.
This is a great battle for the lead here, and what a move. Smart driving by our Turkish driver in the 222 kart. Keep in mind, though, Mate Kobahidze had that incident in qualifying where he had to pull his kart, well, basically out of the grass on the main straight. His qualifying compromised. He's trying to make up for that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, but there's a kart slow. One's off the circuit coming out of turn 8. One's on the inside of the grass. It's all gone horribly wrong for a multitude of drivers, and Harry Freeman finds himself dropping back big time. That's not what the pulse is. That's not what the man wanted at that particular moment. And now at the front end of the field, it's Underlogan versus... That's van der Hullen, who gives him a bit of a bumper check from behind as they come across the start-finish straight. And now we're on to our next lap, lap 7. And Underlogan is doing a sterling job. The youngster from Turkey. You've had the likes of Ehad Turka, Berkay Besler in this championship representing that nation, but Underlogan is putting on a defensive masterclass, and van der Hullen, you can see the signs he's getting frustrated there in second.
Also keep an eye on Thomas Verheijen. He's in 4th at the moment, up 15 positions, Alex. And if these two at the front of the field start fighting, well, Isaac Barker and Thomas Verheijen might well be brought back into that battle.
Yeah, Isaac Barker, another one for the Dan Holland Racing team that are here, but then we are going to go on to 2 laps remaining, and Underlogan, oh, look at the run he gets out of turn number 13. He got the traction down and put 2 tenths between himself and Vince van der Hullen. Now the battle behind, there's Boris Maximov with Thomas Verheijen. Mate Kobahidze is right there with them, but the 2 leaders, as we hit 0 on the counter, Kobahidze, 56.273. He's still in 6th. He has an opportunity to get into the top 5. If anyone might remember the move that he did in Kaupen last year through the twisty stuff in the forest, which was, and I said the words, and Barry Ashcroft, I remember you putting it on social media, I think Kobahidze struck gold. Yes, he has. But Underlogan could really set a precedence here. In the junior class, they're coming down to the final couple of corners. Van der Hullen's going to try something here. He's going to dive to the inside, but Underlogan's going to get the inside line coming out of the final corner. It's a photo finish. Van der Hullen by 30 thousandths.
We're on to the last lap now, Alex. A bit prematurely.
Oh, dear me.
This is the last lap of the race, though.
Thank you very much. I nearly had a coronary.
Though, back into second now. He has led this race for the most part of it. Can he regain that lead in the last lap? That's the question. At the moment, Vince van der Hullen going away with it.
You know what? I did make that mistake 2 weeks ago as well, so thank you for correcting me. But I think van der Hullen, at this moment in time, is in possible danger. Underlogan has kept with him all the way through this race. They've been battling tooth and nail between the pair of them. So we come down towards Cafe Corner for the final time. This is going to be crucial, what Underlogan does now, but Van der Hullen looks like he's kicked the dust in his face and pulled away to where he needs to. Out of the final couple of corners, it is going to be Vince van der Hullen. You know what? Eren Underlogan, I have to give that person, doff my hat to that young Turkish driver. P2, Maximov P3, Barker P4, Gobahidze P5, Thomas Verheyen in 6, Lenny Robiolagash, Luca Van Leer, Boris Verhaag, Luca Van Leer, Ryan Gandor from Canada rounds out your top 10. And where did Harry Freeman finish in all of that? He must have he finished outside of the top 10, didn't he?
Yeah, Harry Freeman finished, just outside of the top 10. He finished down in 11th. Lost 7 positions in that race. Yeah, he'll be looking to do better in his next heat, that's for sure. Just getting unlucky there, I think.
Yeah, it's just a case that like everything just went.
He lost the momentum.
He lost the
momentum, and everyone came past him.
I think he lost the momentum possibly because of a chain reaction of events. You know, we had one cart going off. He was slowing coming out of turn 8, so maybe there was a problem that he was having to deal with. But there are your provisional results on your screen for juniors qualifying heat B versus C. They will be back in action around about just after 1:30 this afternoon local time. But Boris Verhaag, 17 places. Hannah Kreitz, good job by her as well, 33rd to 23rd. So 10 places gained, and once again it's the trundle down the pit lane entry and into scrutineering and the iPad of doom.
Oh boy, and after, what at the end became quite a feisty race, Alex. I presume there are 1 or 2 bumper penalties
incoming. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think everyone will have gotten through that race cleanly. Apart from the little kerfuffle we had on the first lap with those 2 cars at the back of the field tangling, quite a good race from all these drivers, I have to say.
I think it's that time in the season where everyone's putting the feelers out. You know, how drivers have improved in the off-season. You know, there's a lot of championships or a lot of organisations within the karting world. I mean, we know, obviously, WSK, the now current promoters of the Rotax Max Euro Trophy. They've had the Winter Series. There's one of their races going on at the moment. They've done the RMC Winter Series, which I think a couple of weeks ago was at Cremona in Italy, with big entry grids there. And yeah, I think it's when one of the things that I mentioned in the Champions Winter Trophy live stream last week, that this is a true driver's track. It's one of the wonderful circuits here in Europe. I was just about to say, someone trying to get oh, that was assault course of Marshall Post 7 there, I think I've just seen. But there we see the dummy grid again. We are coming up to our penultimate race before the lunch break, which is going to be our first of Mini Max and Mini Rookie, the youngest drivers. There's the young superstar from the United Kingdom, Max Jolly. Got close, but not close enough for pole position overall. But still, nevertheless, Mini Max and Mini Max Rookie, the youngest drivers, all of them aspiring for the higher echelons of motorsport, be it Formula Racing, GT. There's so much talent that we have had come through from this particular class.
I think, Alex, qualifying, of course, everyone wants that pole, everyone wants that fastest lap in qualifying. But I think as long as you're in the top 5, let's say even top 10, I mean, you're in with a shot. At the end of the day, all these heats are just preparing for that big final where, as we said earlier on, that's where you get the points, that's where you want to get to. So all of this is just preparing to get into the final.
Exactly. It's a very, very long set of race days. But there we go. Green flag waves at the end of the dummy grid, and it's time for the first qualifying heat for Mini Max and Mini Max Rookie for 2025. Previous champions include, last year, Jensen Chalk was the winner. It also went to the United Kingdom in 2023, courtesy of Jacob Ashcroft. You've also got the likes of Max Sidursky, Mateo Denkovic, newcomer to Formula 4 this year, Thomas Strauver, also has won this. Tim Gerhardt, Tom Reinhardt, Guy Gilletz, Glenn Van Berlo, of all people, back way back when for Glenn, when that was 2015. So Max Jolly and Tom Reed line up on the front row of the grid. Alfie Mayer and Austin Gibson lock out row 2. Row 3, Andreas Jellerup from Denmark and Benediktas Masiokas round out row 3. Jeff Verbeek and Dimitar Lazarov round out row 4, with Malte Holm and Macandria Casada rounding out the top 10. Lewis Boots, Leo Livings, Paul Dussart, Matthias Verreken, Harry Radcliffe, Victor Reutz, Tiger Holthausen, Jensen Walker, Anton Christensen, Ralph Rakaitis, Amelie Davey, Ryan Rampadanath, last year's mini rookie champion Kian Hay, Noah Stehauder, Philippe Massard and Lawrence van Vlaanderen round out your grid.
Let's see, another 7 minutes and 1 lap on the clock. Alex, we've had great races so far, and you said it earlier, well, these drivers, 2 weeks ago provided the best racing, so I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, exactly. So a big contingent of the drivers. They have been split into 3 respective groups, and each of the drivers will take part in 2 out of the 3 heats we will have today. Seniors, they will have 6 in total. So everyone gets a nice little bite of the cherry, 3 races apiece. And then we go into the top 36 final. If you don't make the top 36, you're going to have to wait until tomorrow, where we reset, Control Out Delete, and start all over again for day 2 of the first weekend of the championship season. Best 6 scores in the finals out of 8 rounds will then decide our champions for this season. But this is what I like, the calm before the storm, the low rumble of these engines, Mr. Pepples. It is one of the most wonderful things in a rolling start, that anticipation before the lights go out and we go racing.
Past the red light, or the red line of no return, as you called it earlier. We're getting ready to get this race underway. The red lights are on. And are they going out? They are not. We're going to get a redo of this start, Alex.
One more time around. Full start called for the first time in 2025. So the Minimax and Minimax rookie drivers being instructed by Manuel Branco to actually also slow down. Manuel's just off of turn 2 at the minute. One of the people behind WFR. A big thank you to them for coming on board for 2025, not just for the BNL Karting Series, but also the Rotax Belgian Max Challenge, because we've got another announcement to tie onto that as well, haven't we?
Yes,
do you want to do the honours on that? Because
I'll be back in October at, the exact same track we're at right now to do that round of, the Rotax Max Belgium Challenge.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that too, and can't wait to be back in the commentary booth.
Exactly. So we will be the 2 main voices you'll hear over the course of the 2025 season. And this is where, again, that anticipation, the people are starting to fill up on the grandstand. And when you see that grandstand packed here at the Home of Champions, it is a sight unlike any other. This is going to be crucial, because if we do go lights not out this time, we could have a red flag stoppage, which means that race director Manuel Branco will be having words with Max Jolly and Tom Reed. They have to dictate a consistent speed. It's a bit like, say, with GT racing, GT3s, it's 60 miles an hour and you stay at that speed. Here it's a far cry. It's a bit like a snail's pace, as opposed to being ready to just gun it in second gear and hope that you don't misshift on your way up. But with direct drive karting, all you have to do is point your foot on the throttle as we go. Revs up, lights on for the second time, and we are underway. Good start from the front row as we head into turns 1 and 2. Tom Reed trying to go around the outside of Max Jolly. Has gone Alfie Mayer looking up the inside, possibly as they 4 wide, going on to the runoff area for the first time. 3 wide coming out of turn 2 for the first time. Into 3, into 4, and then into turn 5. That is very, very clean indeed with the start for all these drivers so far. But Max Jolly leading the way with nearly 4 abreast at one point down the Europalan towards the back end of the field. But Max Jolly has got his hands full with the opposition behind him.
Great start from all these mini and ahead of Tom Reed at the front of this chasing pack, which is, well, Alfie Mayer and Austin Gibson. It's a quartet of UK drivers at the front at the moment.
Yep, with a Dane and another Brit thrown in for good measure. After the opening lap, which we complete, it is Max Jolly that leads the way. Tom Reed, Alfie Mayer, Andreas Jellerup now up into 4th place. As Jeff Verbeek trying to look through on Austin Gibson. So are a few other drivers as well. Benedictas Masiokas also looking rather racy down in 7th place. But we have had a change for the race lead. Tom Reed now through on Max Jolly as now they head down the Europalan once again. And it's great to see. There's no sort of like there's no drivers weaving down the Europalan. They make one move, that's all they're allowed to make. And this is where drivers really start to learn very quickly how to develop their own racecraft as they build their careers in the foundation steps.
If you're Max Jolly and Tom Reed at the front of this pack here, you're trying to break away a little, you're trying to give yourself that gap to fight at the end of the race to make sure you've got at least that top 2 in the back. Do you want to fight? Do you want to defend as it stands at the moment? We do see a change for the lead. It's Tom Reed who's passed Max Jolly, new leader of the race.
Yeah, so Reed continues to hold on by 64 thousandths of a second after the second lap of racing here at the Home of Champions in the opening qualifying heat for 2025 for mini rookies. Makandria Cassandra has got the fastest lap of the race, 59.445. Lewis Boots went purple. Now it's Harry Radcliffe who's up 3 spots into 12th. But Reed and Jolly have started pulling away from Gibson. The gap now between 2nd and 3rd is round about 5.5 tenths of a second. But Jolly is right on the rear bumper of Tom Reed as, oh no! That was the 104 of Makandria Casada. We've got 2 into the sides of each other. 199, Dimitar Lazarov from Germany, and Denmark's Andreas Jellerup in the 153 coming out of turn 10. It took the 104 of Makandria Casada that ended up sideways, and it caused havoc behind.
Yeah, it's sad to see between those two. They're having such a good race, Alex. And well, you can see with a moment like that, it can all come to blows. So both of them at the back of the pack, I think, have been able to continue the race, if I'm correct. Yeah, I do see them at the back of the field again.
Yeah,
that's how quickly it can all come to blows.
Exactly, and when the field is so tightly packed, one wrong move or one mistake by somebody else and you get caught up in the crossfire, it's game over. So, warning flag for Leo Livings in the 177 from KR Sport, who is currently circulating in 6th position. Will make that 7th because he's just been passed by Belgium's Jeff Verbeek in the 126 for that place. So Tom Reed leads by 38 thousandths of a second, but Max Jolly has retaken the lead as we now are on our next lap. That's lap 5 in this race. Austin Gibson and also Alfie Mayer are closing on in. The gap between Jolly and Gibson when we crossed the line last time around was just north of a second.
We've got a warning flag, Alex, for the number 177. That is Leo Livings, running 7th at the moment. Don't quite know what that would be for, but a warning flag.
Warning flag could be just basically warning them about their driving standards on the circuit, maybe track limits. Or track limits would be a 5-second time penalty. And that would be normally indicated either in race or post race.
Well, Leo Livings up 5 positions at the moment. He's doing a good job.
Victor Deutz, however, up 7 places at the moment. He's now P9 as Livings and Verbeek go into battle once again across the start-finish straight. Victor Deutz is not too far behind them. Neither is the Falcon Racing kart of Lewis Boots. Max Jolly, new fastest lap of the race, 58.820. So quite a significant amount slower than the qualifying, but it's not at all surprising when you're battling with Tom Reed for the lead of this race. We've also got the battle still between Alfie Mehr and Austin Gibson for P3 and P4. Benedictus Masiokas has kept his nose rather clean at the moment. And so the top 5 representing the United Kingdom at the moment, with Jeff Verbeek, the next nationality to be represented, and it's the host nation, Belgium.
Indeed, the future, if I look at my timing screen, is looking bright for the UK, Alex. You've got the whole top 5, all UK drivers. Great to see, obviously. Jeff Verbeek, the only odd one out at the moment in 6th. He's our Belgian driver trying to chase down that pack. And we've got, what's happened to Jeff Verbeek? Has dropped 5 positions. That lap has been replaced by Lewis Boots and Victor Ruits in 6th and 7th. So, what's happened exactly to Jeff Verbeek?
Well, I think it might have been the case that there would have been quite a few drivers in quite close proximity behind. If he's made a mistake, and I'm going to have a look at his lap time, 1 minute 8.65, and the leader 58.968. So that says to me, Jeff Verbeek either had a slight bit of contact with somebody else, or there's been a mistake. And if you're going down the Europlan, you make one mistake, what does that do? It puts you right at the back end.
Yeah, that exit is crucial onto the Europlan. But Max Jolly is creating himself a nice little gap at the front of the field. Gap at the moment just over 0.8 of a second. Then a gap of 1.3 seconds to Alfie Mehr, from Tom Reed to Alfie Mehr. And then Austin Gibson.
Oh, look at this scramble coming through turn 1. Right in the middle of it was Matthias Verreken from Belgium in the 154. So we are now on to our penultimate lap of this race. Max Jolly crossed the line with literally, I think, 1 second to spare, or they might be...
tyre banging going on. But both drivers managing to keep that point in the right direction. It's getting feisty, Alex. We're getting, as you would say, into the nitty-gritty. Yes,
or as my French-speaking Belgian friends would say, le money time. But it is going to be last lap underway. Max Jolly now leads comfortably at the moment, and the gap between him and Tom Reed is just under 1.1 seconds. And then you've got the likes of Alfie Mehr, Austin Gibson, Jeff Verbeek now back up into 8th position. Lewis Boots in 7th and is being chased down by the 126. Mercanteria Quesada, who had that near-on Code Brown moment coming out of turn 10 when the 104 was completely sideways, still holds on to that position. But Max Jolly has started exactly how he wanted to for a championship push here in 2025. Made his debut partway through the season with Hunter Motorsport last year, moved to Strawberry Racing, and combined with the driver coach of Kai Rillertz, well, that is a very, very strong combination. As Jolly will make his way through the final corner, and Jolly wins the opening heat of the season. It's a comfortable race win for the 116. Tom Reed second, Alfie Mehr, Austin Gibson and Benedictus Masiokas make it a top 6 British finish. Harry Radcliffe comes from 15th to finish in P6. Ahead of Mercanteria Quesada, Lewis Boots, Jeff Verbeek and Leo Livings rounding out your top 10. Victor Reitz, Matthias Verreken, Paul Dussard, Jensen Walker, Ryan Rampadanath, last year's mini rookie champion, started 22nd, finishes in 15th, ahead of Tiger Holdhausen. Kian Hay, the youngster from Denmark in mini rookie, up 6 places from 23rd to finish 17th, ahead of Amelie Davy, Andreas Jellerup and Laurens van Vlaanderen. That rounds out your top 20. Ralf Rakaitis, Noah Stehouder, Dimitar Lazarov, Anton Christensen, Malte Holm and Luxembourg's Philippe Massard round out your finishing order. Everyone getting to the checkered.
Well, and that is, I think, the first time we've seen that today, with all cards getting to the checkered flag. Good to see, but Max Jolly, he strikes again. Well, basically takes off where he left off last year.
Indeed, and also 2 weeks ago. Well, folks, we'll be right back after these messages as we head into DD2 and DD2 Masters, the qualifying heat, coming up shortly. So here is your starting grid for the DD2 and DD2 Masters sole qualifying heats. 7 minutes plus an additional lap. Zem Knopfjes, the champion of chrono karting last year, starts from pole position. He'll have the very fast Frenchman in the form of Antoine Babou alongside on the front row. Lawrence Hobos and Frederick Zebis on row 2. Francesco Cosimo Durante Cosimo on row. I'll try and get my words out right here, folks. Dentures. Then you got Durante. Then you got Kirstens, Axel Hoos, Nicolas Guillaume, William Norbeek, William Christensen, Tino Egersov, leading in pole position for DD2 Masters. Francis Christophe Capitan with Morgan Riche's outfit. RM Concept. The returning Hannes Morin here to do a season, and he's on a Birolot. Far cry for a Sodi for the Swede, but also a 2-time European champion. Then Ronnie Gutler, Kian de Brandt, Jeremy Brasler, Michael Becker, Nikolai Christensen. The most decorated grand finalist in all of Rotax history, Christoph Adams, makes a return in 2025. He'll be ahead of Rudis Klavins, Jonathan Morin, Jonathan Wimore, Dimitri Ostrovsky and Brandon Klein-Nagelvort rounding out your grid. And before I forget, Ludwig Morin, gratis for yesterday. Happy birthday.
Oh, well, indeed.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. So for yesterday, I forgot to tell him that yesterday. You know when you see someone and you're trying to get the name, and I'm like, right, which Morin is it? And I knew what Hannes looks like. But then I remembered Ludwig has glasses. However, 2-speed gearbox action, courtesy of DD2 and DD2 Masters, and this is where the real mind games begin. Lights are on, revs are up, we are underway. And a good start by Sem Knopfjes as he leads the field into turn 1. And this could be very, very close. Oh, and we've got, oh no! Oh, drama in the background. Christoph Adams involved in an incident through none of his own making, I might add. That man has had quite a few BNL karting series titles. I count at least 5 of them.
Jeez,
yeah, in the same category. He's also...
no introduction, I guess.
No. Well, he is the man, the myth, the legend. And for those people that know him, you know the backstories as well that happen behind the scenes. And I'm not going to go into that on a stream like this. I'll tell you afterwards, Stan. But 45 seconds in, and the pace... As always, with these 2-speed gearbox-driven 125cc Rotax Max Evo engines with power valves accompanying them, can really put a lot of speed down the start-finish straight. Frederick Zebis originally was last year at some point with RS competition. The team run by Robert Schlunsen out of Voyens Motorsport Arena, an hour out of Billund, and Christoph Adams, I have just seen, despite setting a purple sector number 2, has just pulled the cart into the pit lane. So looks like left front damage to the steering and possibly track rod and tie rod there for the man that has represented the grand finals for Team France, Team Belgium, and most recently Team Netherlands. But Sem Knopfjes leading the way, doing a comfortable job, but Antoine Babou is hot on his heels. So is Frederick Zebis. So is Lawrence Herbos. Wout Kirstens not too far behind. And neither is Cosimo Francesco Durante at this moment. So the top 5 really line astern as we go across the line to start lap 3.
Biggest gainer so far in this race is Dimitri Ostrakovsky. He's up 5 positions, started 23rd, Alex, up into 18. Also, Jonathan Morin up 5 positions. Like you said, the quick sweep, we're looking what he can do. Hannes Morin also, he's in 13th still at the moment. Sem Knopfjes in the lead. Ahead of Antoine Barbaro, the quick Frenchman.
Yeah.
And in thirds, just overtaken. And the last lap is Frederick Zebis, who's up onto the top 3 now. Then Lars Herbots in 4th. And Wout Kirstens rounding off your top 5.
Well, in the meantime, Frederick Zebis has been passed by Lawrence Herbots, who is looking to get past Antoine Babou. As now across, well, it's Sem Knopfjes as Babou leads us on to lap 4 with 4 minutes and 10 to go. But a dive bomb and a half there from Sem Knopfjes. That means he gets back into the race lead. And Lawrence Herboz loses a lot of time on that one, but it's side by side. Woodkhurst is on the outside of Frederick Zebis, and Zebis manages to hold his nerve, stay on the racing line, and keep him at bay. Woodkhurstens, however, has... Oh, now what's happened with Woodkhurstens? According to the timing, he's dropped quite considerably for a moment. Not too sure why. However, Sam Knopfius is very much holding on by a finger thread to that race lead with Babu, Herboz, Zebis. Then you've got Cosimo Durante, Nicola Guillaume now in the mix as well with his Florida special race suit, as I like to call it. It's white with a little bit of purple, a little bit of pink. It's good for hotter weather conditions, and that might come in handy a little bit later on. But we are past the halfway point, and the top 4 last time around, after 4 laps in the books, were covered by 4 tenths. This is the halo class of Rotax. And the thing was, when the concept was invented, none of the chassis partners wanted to have anything with it. So what did Rotax do? They stuck it on their own developed chassis, the RM1, and proved everyone that their theory was right. And what do you have now? You have every permutation of chassis that will have a DD2 Max Evo engine on the side of it. And it is one of my favourite classes in Rotax. It's pure, it's guttural, it's aggressive. And you know that when you've worked hard at it, as now we're going to see a change for the lead. Antoine Barbarou gets through on Sam Knopfius. And so at the same time as the 498 of Lawrence Herboz make the move. So Sam Knopfius down to P3.
2 for the price of 1 there for Sam Knopfius. Let's see if he can hang on to the 2 that have just overtaken him. It's great to see so many drivers in with a shot for the lead here. I think we've got 7 drivers now in this lead battle. It's great to see.
Yeah, it is very much the case. Christophe Capitain still leads the way in DD2 Masters. He's currently running in 10th position. And I've seen drivers like Carl Klibor, Nikolai Christiansen, Ian Getz, amongst others, actually fight for overall race wins. So 3 laps remaining. We head on to lap number 7 with 1.5 minutes to go. And up the inside of Lawrence Herboz is now Zem Knopfius. So Knopfius pulled the pin, got through at T1. And now is going to start chasing down Antoine Babou just in front of him. But that is Nicolas Guillaume round at turn 5. That's on the Europalan. So Guillaume's race has gone from great to absolutely disastrous within 1 moment. And I think he might have... I'm just going to have a look back at the feed that we can see, which, thank goodness, the wonders of latency on YouTube. We can see what happened. So, looking back at it, oh, yeah, that was a little bit of contact there. That was with Durante in the 461. I think he tried to turn in and then, yeah, just shoved him wide, and that was all she wrote. Just an unforced error, I think. However, with 23 seconds to go, Bubble now starting to put both hands on the win here in this race as we go down the Europlan for what is going to be the penultimate time.
It's Sam Knopfius busier defending from Herboz behind that, the Belgian, than trying to close the gap to Barbarou, who's in the leads of this race. So the gap opening up slowly but surely. Gap at the moment just a little over 4 tenths of a second. We're going on to the last lap of this race soon. And with a 4 tenths gap, you would say Antoine Barbeau has got this one in the bag. But it ain't over to the fat lady since.
And when the checkered flag falls, Mr. Pebbles. But final lap of the morning's action here at day 1. As it's back to school with BNL for 2025. Antoine Barbarou leads by nearly half a second as they now filter their way onto the fast triple left-hander that brings them onto the right-hand hairpin, onto the Europalan. And Antoine Barbarou, whilst everyone was fighting tooth and nails for the scraps on the dinner table, he's managed to get away whilst the sun shines. We are now at 16 degrees Celsius air ambient temperature. It's going to be hot, it's going to be sunny, but it's also going to be blue skies ahead. And more to the point, it's going to be a blue kart that is going to make its way to the checkered flag out of turn 12, out of turn 13. It's a victory for Francis Antoine Babahoux. Sem Knopfius takes P2, Lawrence Herboz P3, Frederick Zebis with Cosimo Francesco Durante, William Norbeck, Tino Egesov. Then we got William Christensen, Axel Hoos, and Nikolai Christensen takes the win in DD2 Masters, moving up from 18th to finish 10th ahead of Christophe Capitan, who started from DD2 Masters pole. Wout Kirstens, Honey Gudler, Hannes Morin and Kian de Brandt round out your top 15 overall. Then it's Jeremy Brasler, Dmitry Ostrovsky from Germany, Nicolas Guillaume finished 18th at the end of the 9 laps of racing. Jonathan Morin, Brandon Klein-Nagelvoort, Jonathan Wimore, Rudis Klavins and Michael Becker round out your 23 finishers, with Christoph Adams unfortunately retiring after contact at turn 1 on the opening lap.
Yeah, from all 24 cards, it's only one that sadly not made it to the checkered flag, but Antoine Barbeau winning in the DD2 class. Sem Knoppius looked for a long time, especially with him starting from the pole. He was able to hang on at the end though. Barbeau stretching his legs.
Yeah. Well, folks, that concludes the morning action here for day 1 of the 2025 BNL Karting Series opener. Thank you so much for joining myself and the man who's going to be in the booth. Thank you very much for joining me, Dan. It's been a pleasure having you alongside me in the commentary box for real, as in real life this time. This man will be back with you all at round 2 in May, but we're going to go to the official lunch break. Join us afterwards as we're going to go into the real midpoint of this race day. Day 1 out of round 1. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you a bit later on. Goodbye.